Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. To settle or not to settle? We got settlement confusion about the SEC versus Ripple. Where did the source come from? Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Right now, $869 billion market cap for cryptocurrency, ladies and gentlemen. We're off by 0.1%. Bitcoin right now, 16,500 plus, off by 20.6% on the 7-day. Ethereum, 1,200 plus, off by 21 and a little bit over on the 7-day as well. And we see right here, XRP, 26.8% off on the 7-day at 34 cents now, down a penny from where we were this morning. Welcome back, everybody. If you haven't done it, check out my sponsor, GlintPay. Here's a few things you should know in this uncertainty in this time. And Jason Cousins, as many other CEOs have done, has come out here and wanted to clear the air about what he delivers. And he says the crypto ecosystem has many benefits, but the FTX scandal brings these points to mind. Glint client gold cannot be used as collateral, lent out, put at risk. Unlike within the crypto or fiat currency system, GlintPay cannot print or issue its own currency. Gold is created when neutron stars collide. Although gold is not regulated, Glint is regulated by the Bank of England's Financial Conduct Authority. Unlike with crypto, gold cannot be hacked. Although Glint enables its use within electronic payments, hackers haven't yet worked out a way to dematerialize it and steal it across the wire. And that is another reason I'm loving Glint as a customer, and I absolutely love him as a sponsor too. I'll tell you what I've done, because once I started using my Glint card like as regular as money in places, I really have just gotten to a very comfortable place with it. But one thing I will say is that in this time of uncertainty, I'm also trying to keep in mind that I want to, for myself, this is not financial advice, but for myself, sharing my digital perspectives, I am trying to accumulate more gold in my portfolio. I don't have nowhere near as much as I had hoped to have by this time, but there's only so much dry powder. But I encourage you to click the link, check it out, see if it's right for yourself. You're going to love my sponsor. Glint is amazing. Shout out to Jason for the insights. And here's one more reason to think about gold. The Federal Reserve buying up $13.9 billion digitally out of thin air to fund the government, which is spent into the economy to consume goods and not produce goods. Well said, Gold Coast. Yeah. The Fed now bids for 3-month bills totaling $7.8 billion and 6-month bills totaling $6.1, giving us the 13.9. I tell you, things are not good, ladies and gentlemen, and it is concerning whether you're in the crypto space or you're in the traditional economy. I mean, doesn't feel like there's a good place to stand all the time, but we got to really dig down. I think you can for yourself. There's a few places you can stand. You just got to figure out which one's right for you. Now, I want to remind people of this. He says, okay, guys, this is Dezo. He says, okay, guys, time to ask an uncomfortable question. Over the past 4 days, Tether's circulating market cap dropped by about $3.5 billion. During this time, $4+ billion of Tethers were collectively sent to Ethereum and Tron treasuries. The question is, why is it all Bitfinex? Again, I'm just reminding people of this. If Tether, in fact, is on the up and up, and I hope that they are, I wish them great success. But one thing I understand at 51 years old is that if you're not completely transparent, as Brad Garlinghouse spoke in a general term, as a business, you're probably not doing it right, and you're probably putting yourself in the crosshairs of the regulators. Tether is something to watch very closely, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been around for years, so a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction is like, that's not going to happen. Okay. And I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying there's an opportunity for it to happen, because Tether told the Department of Justice to go fly a kite when they asked them to show them the reserves and their accounting statements and mechanisms and all of this. So we'll see. Right? We'll see. I hope for the space that that's not the case, because that's a $60+ billion market cap for Tether. That's why I keep talking about it, because if that happens, it's going to devastate this market. And that, I think you could probably call a bottom. Visa has ended its partnership, as we all probably have imagined by now, with FTX to release crypto debit cards in 40 different countries following FTX's recent collapse. Not a surprise on that one. Everyone is breaking away. Now, we reported in this morning's video, it was an interview with Natalie Brunell and Maria Bartiromo from Fox Business News. And inside of that clip, the comment was made by Maria, and we're going to play the very short clip in just a moment. But in the opener of that clip, you will notice that Maria says you are expecting, speaking to Natalie, a settlement in the SEC versus Ripple case tomorrow. That's what's said. Now, we've got some information on that. After that interview came out, Eleanor Terrett, shout out to you, Eleanor, comes out and says, per a Ripple spokesperson this morning, report on expected settlement between Ripple and the SEC tomorrow, 11:15, is false. And we appreciate her clearing that up. But there are still questions here. Charles Gasparino came out immediately after it as well and said Ripple just told Eleanor Terrett that this is false. Okay, we appreciate the reporting there. Natalie Brunell comes in underneath of Charles's comments and says, hi, Charles, in this clip, those are your network's graphics and headlines, not mine. I responded to a general question about crypto fallout. I would ask CEO attorneys for Ripple or SEC about the trial status. Thank you. Well, immediately Natalie is clearing the air and saying, this is not my narrative. To go a step further, I reached out to Natalie and said, hey, Natalie, was Ripple settlement news your source or Fox Business or Maria Bartiromo? She responds back to me and says, and I think I have it here, she says, I never stated the headline or made claims of settlement. That is a Fox Business News graphic. I am not reporting on the trial. I gave my take on crypto fallout and will be interested to see the outcome whenever the trial concludes. Well, that's interesting. But what I want you to hear now, ladies and gentlemen, is this clip, what's said. Listen to how this opens up here.
In more assets and more traditional assets. I know you're expecting a settlement tomorrow in the lawsuit between the Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple.
I know you're expecting a settlement tomorrow between SEC or Ripple and the Securities Exchange Commission. And Natalie is shaking her head yes. Now, what we don't know is did they have an off-camera chat about this information before going on, or did she just go on? She's made it clear that she doesn't get to see the graphics when she's on television. So I totally get that part. But let's go back to this. That she never stated the headline or made claims of a settlement, but she certainly shook her head, right, in an agreement while it's being said to her from Maria that she already had a preconceived notion that this would settle. I thanked her for her response, and then she says, thanks for asking. Not sure which reporters are covering the trial, but good to sort out. I'm a huge believer that people should operate ethically and people should be able to save for the future. Then she says, I'm generally skeptical of centralized exchanges and non-Bitcoin tokens. Kind of taking a shot at the XRP crew there with some FUD, I believe, is certainly the way I took it, right? And I politely responded to that. And let's see if I can find that comment very quickly for us. And here it is right here. So this is where I'd, thanked her, or she said, thanks for asking. She cleared it up, said, I'm generally skeptical of centralized exchanges and non-Bitcoin tokens. I feel like referring to anything outside, certainly Ripple and XRP. And certainly if you listen to her remarks about the clip, she certainly believes Ripple, a CEO, and the asset makes it a security. You could hear that in her comments. It's certainly leading at the best. So I said, it's okay, Natalie Brunell. I myself am usually skeptical of people who try to tell me the first generation cell phone is the hottest thing going in today's market. I appreciate your candor. Listen to the rest of this clip, ladies and gentlemen. It's important, I believe, to listen to the rest of this clip. Let me line it up here. Here it is right here. And if you just like this digital assets trainer says right here, he says, I'm sorry, Natalie, but you clearly did make claims of a settlement unless you're not the woman interviewed by Maria Bartiromo in this clip. And basically, listen to the rest of this clip here.
This has the potential to take down other markets like the stock market.
Absolutely, Maria. Well, it goes to your first point. When contagion happens, it's because everything is cross-collateralized and the system at large based on credit is so fragile. So we do see Bitcoin drawing down, and we can see other assets drawing down as people liquidate in order to cover their margins and their shorts. And so I think what's important to know about the SEC and Ripple, and it'll be interesting to see what the verdict will be, is that the SEC charged Ripple with violating securities law and argues that it passes the Howey test. It says that it's a common enterprise, an investment contract, and a common enterprise. And the big thing I want people to remember, no matter what happens tomorrow, is right now you can go to Twitter or Google and you can find Ripple's CEO. And Ripple is the largest holder of its own token. Sound familiar? So if there's a CEO, if there's a company, if there's a pre-mine, a foundation, an ICO, it's not Bitcoin. And be careful trusting your life savings to a CEO.
Be careful trusting your life savings to anything in this world, right? That actually is financial advice. Be careful of anything, right, in this world. Obviously it's a basic statement. But what's funny is the way she says, if you just listen right here really quickly.
Says that it's a common enterprise, an investment contract, and a common enterprise. And the big thing I want people to remember, no matter what happens tomorrow, is
the big thing I want people to remember, no matter what happens tomorrow. Now, Maria starts off the clip this way. I'm not trying to overanalyze this, but it's important. It's important, ladies and gentlemen. Where did this narrative come from? Because Natalie is saying it didn't come from her. However, Maria suggests that we already discussed it.
In more assets and more traditional assets. I know you're expecting a settlement tomorrow in the lawsuit between the Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple.
There is the suggestion right there that they've already had a conversation about this. Natalie has clearly publicly denied that the information has come from her, right? So at the end of the day, where did the source come from? If it didn't come from Natalie, then it came from Maria and Fox Business News. But it was Eleanor Terrett and Charles Gasparino that came out and stomped this clip after it came out. And by the way, if you've seen the video or not seen the video this morning, you should watch it. But I did put a subtitle in there for everybody to understand that we are monitoring this extremely closely. I mean, I tell you, I don't know what to make of this, but this came from one of these two right here. Natalie says it is not her, that the graphic that was put up is put up from the people at Fox. They had to have permission to put it up from somewhere. And Maria suggested that they had already discussed it, but Natalie's acting like that wasn't what she wanted to talk about, and nor did she have an opinion really about it. But actually that isn't true either, because she reminds people and infers that pretty much if you're a CEO and you're a company and you have an asset on your books, or where you have an asset, then you know that that's not really like Bitcoin, right? It's like, well, look, that's a conversation for another day. But what I can say to you is this. This is quite interesting that this has come out of this camp here. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to watch this closely. And I don't know if this turns out to be a nothing burger, which it certainly could be. But if it has, and it didn't come from Natalie, then why did Fox run with it? And who was their source that gave it to them to do so? Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Just my digital perspectives. Head on a swivel. This is Crypto You Never Know. Swell starts tomorrow. I'll catch all of you on the next one.